Emotionally unavailable people don't avoid connection, they avoid vulnerability, and that distinction explains why they can feel close one moment, distant the next, and still genuinely care about you at the same time. This is where most people get confused, because we're taught that if someone pulls away emotionally, it must mean they don't feel enough. But that's not always true. Sometimes they feel too much. What emotional unavailability really is. Emotional unavailability is not coldness. It's not indifference. And it's rarely intentional. It's protection. Most emotionally unavailable people learned early that closeness comes with consequences. They may have been dismissed when they expressed emotions. They may have had to stay strong instead of being supported. They may have learned that depending on others leads to disappointment, so they adapted. They learned how to connect without fully opening, how to care without fully relying, how to love without fully risking themselves. Why they still want connection, here's the part people don't expect. Emotionally unavailable people still crave intimacy. They still want companionship. They still want affection. They still want to feel chosen. They just want it without the emotional exposure that makes them feel unsafe. So they attach carefully. They show interest. They initiate conversations. They make plans. They share time and attention, but they control how deep it goes. How attachment looks for them. Their attachment doesn't look dramatic or intense. It looks measured. They're present but guarded, warm but not fully open, consistent but emotionally restrained. They may pull back after emotionally intimate moments, change the subject when feelings come up, go quiet after closeness, need space after vulnerability. This isn't manipulation, it's self-preservation. Let's talk about Daniel and Mia. Daniel was attentive from the start. He texted every day, he made time, he remembered details. Mia felt seen. But whenever she tried to talk about feelings, Daniel shifted. If she asked where things were going, he joked it away. If she expressed emotional needs, he became distant for a few days. Mia felt confused. How can someone care this much and still feel so far away? The answer wasn't lack of interest. Daniel wasn't afraid of Mia. He was afraid of emotional exposure. What happens inside their mind? For emotionally unavailable people, vulnerability feels like loss of control. Opening up means being seen, being needed, being emotionally responsible, and that feels overwhelming. So when closeness increases, anxiety rises, not because they want to leave, but because they feel emotionally unsafe. Pulling back becomes their way of calming themselves. The push-pull cycle. This creates a painful dynamic. They move closer, you feel hopeful, then they pull back. You feel confused, they return, you feel relief, and slowly you start blaming yourself. You wonder if you're asking for too much, if you're moving too fast, if you're the problem. But the inconsistency isn't about you. It's about their internal conflict, why they don't communicate it clearly. Many emotionally unavailable people don't fully understand their own patterns. They know they feel overwhelmed. They know closeness triggers something uncomfortable, but they don't always have language for it. So instead of explaining, they retreat, not to hurt you, but to regulate themselves. What you can't fix, this part matters. You cannot love someone into emotional availability. You cannot be patient enough to heal their fear. You cannot communicate perfectly enough to make them feel safe. No amount of reassurance replaces internal emotional work. Change only happens when they decide vulnerability is worth the risk. What you can do, you can stop personalizing inconsistency. You can stop chasing emotional access. You can stop over-explaining your needs. Instead, watch patterns. Do they show up emotionally when it matters? Do they meet vulnerability with openness or withdrawal? Do you feel emotionally safe with them? Consistency tells you more than words ever will. Why this feels so painful, being close to an emotionally unavailable person, hurts because the connection is real. There is chemistry, there is care, there is attachment, but it's incomplete. You feel the potential, but never the security, and that gap keeps you hoping longer than you should. The hard truth: emotionally unavailable people can care deeply, but care without emotional access will always leave you guessing, and love that makes you question your worth is not love you can rest in. If someone is emotionally unavailable, it doesn't mean they don't feel. It means closeness feels dangerous to them. Understanding that helps you stop blaming yourself, and choosing emotional safety is how you protect your heart.